What's going on, guys? Kaiser here, and today I'll be giving you a kind of behind the scenes look at some of the equipment and tools that I use to create video, as well as share with you some tips and affordable solutions for creating motion and adding color and dimension to your shots. With that said, let's get to it. Now, the camera that I use is the Nikon D850 with a 24-70 2.8 Nikkor lens. Now, this camera isn't really ideal for video. It has terrible autofocus and even worse image stabilization, but I didn't pick this up for video. In the beginning, I was using it more so for photography, but because it shoots 4K and 1080p at 120 frames per second, I was able to make it work. Now, if you're looking for a camera primarily for video, there's certainly some better solutions than this, like the GH5, the A64, and in certain situations, even your phone. Now, a lot of times when I tell people that they can get really good results from their phone, they usually complain that they get footage similar to what you're looking at now, which in all fairness isn't really good. But the thing that most people overlook, yet is just as important as a good camera, is lighting. But I'll show you an example of how this drastically changes things a little later in the video. Alright, so I'm going to cut into the video right here because I forgot to mention this new app that I'm using, the PromptSmart Pro Teleprompter. Now, the reason that I like this teleprompter so much is because it's voice controlled, and it's not a gimmick either. This thing actually does a really good job tracking your speech. Check it out. This is a test to see how well this app tracks your voice. So far, it looks like it's doing a really good job. This is definitely worth checking out. This app also has some other features that I haven't tried yet, but maybe I'll check them out a little later. Now, this app has a ton of features that I haven't even begun to dig into, but I really only use it for the teleprompter, so if you're in need of a good one, this just might be the best. Now, the device that I use for motion is the Rhino Evo. This is a motorized slider with carbon fiber rails controlled by a remote. This device attaches to my tripod and fluid head and basically slides from side to side, creating those really smooth motions that you see in my videos. I can use this remote to control the speed, direction, or set program motions. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to go out and spend hundreds of dollars in order to get good results. I actually put together a how to create a great YouTube video on a $100 budget a while back, and I'll link that in the description. However, I do want to show you guys a clip from that video because, like I said earlier, you can get really good results from your phone. In this clip, I'm using a 3-year-old Samsung S8 phone with a rubber band hack to create motion. Here's how it looks. I'm not going to go into detail in this video, but I will leave links in the description so that you guys can see how I pulled that off. Now, for my monitor, I'm using the FieldWorld LUT7 4K 7-inch ultra bright field monitor. Now, normally manufacturers use the term ultra bright loosely, but this monitor has an incredible 2200 nits of brightness and is hands down one of the brightest and most feature-rich budget monitors that I've used. I mean, it literally has everything from dual battery slots, a touchscreen interface with tap to swipe gestures, an intuitive menu dial that lets you easily move between options, all of the major assist features such as focus peaking, false color, grid, anamorphic mode, histogram, and pretty much any assist feature that you can think of. Now, aside from having all of those features jam-packed into this budget monitor, it also gives you the ability to load 3D LUTs. So now you can have a better idea ahead of time of how your shots will look before grading. But overall, this monitor is jam-packed with tons of features and really does offer a lot for the price. Now, the tripod that I'm using is the Manfrotto MT055CX Pro 3 with the 502 mAh fluid head. Now, I can't say enough about this fluid head. I've been using it for a couple of years now, and it definitely provides some of the smoothest motion that I've ever experienced from a fluid head. This is also a good place to start if you need motion, but don't want to spend a lot of money on a slaughter right now. Over here, we have my light boxes. Now, this is probably the least expensive part of my setup, yet the most important, because it really doesn't matter how great your camera and lenses are if your lighting is bad. So this should be one of the first things that you pick up. Just below that is the desk that I film on. Now, this is a sit and stand desk by FlexiSpot that allows you to adjust the height of the desk. Now, I don't find myself adjusting it much because I'm usually standing, but it's still pretty cool to have. Now, this is fairly new. This is my overhead camera rig. It's basically a C-stand with a spigot and a counterweight attached. And this is what I use to shoot my overhead shots. Now, if you've been here before, you might remember that I had a different one initially, the pet grooming station. And one of the things that I explained in that video was since the rig was attached to the desk, whenever you touched it, the camera would shake. And that would cause shake in your video. And that's the reason why I decided to go the C-stand route. But ultimately, both are still good options. Alright, now the rest of this stuff is just some props that I use to bring the video to life. Here I have some plants. It's always a good idea to add stuff to the front or background to create depth. I also have some LEDs on the back of my desk so I can switch up the color from time to time. Now, one of the things that I use a lot to create this really clean reflective look is a piece of plexiglass. You can pick this up from any hardware store for about $10 or so, depending on what size you need. But this is a really good way to create that reflective look without having a glass table. Now, to avoid having all of my videos look redundant, I use a variety of mats, poster boards, and different materials to switch things up. You can find this stuff pretty much anywhere, but I usually get mine from my local fabric store or Walmart. Definitely a cheap way to add some pop to your video. Next is this light panel that I use for a variety of things, but I use it mostly to add lights to small parts of a subject to give it this kind of cinematic feel. Normally these panels will have a brightness and temperature adjustment that will allow you to dial in just the right amount of light and color. Another tool that I use a lot is this motorized rotating turntable. This allows me to place objects on it and capture three-dimensional shots like I did here. Now these come in a variety of sizes, some motorized and some manual. I'll leave a link to a couple in the description, but you'll want to read the specs so that you'll know how much weight it'll hold. But anyway, that's a behind the scenes look at some of the equipment that I use to create videos. If you guys are interested in any of this stuff, I'll leave links in the description. So until next time, peace.